What's up, my peeps? So I wasn't sure if I was gonna do any videos tonight because I haven't had a chance to get trimmed up, so I'm looking kind of wild. Hope you guys don't mind. But anyway, I said the heck with it because I think it's going on week 2 that I haven't made any videos. So I wanted to try to get a couple out there for you guys. So I'm gonna try to do 2 videos again this week. The first one is gonna be about well, actually, it's gonna be about this dude that I went to the Coda Academy with in Tucson, Arizona. So it's gonna be a prison story. And then the second one is gonna be about this gangster chick that I was messing with when I was in my early 20s. And when I broke it off with her, man, she flipped out on me. Man, she wanted your boy dead. I guess that means I was doing something right. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. But so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get to the story. Hopefully you guys are all doing good. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and please, leave comments afterwards, even if you don't like the story. So anyway, this started in like '94 uh, at the Code Academy in Tucson, Arizona. I met a lot of cool people there, and one of them was this dude. He was Greek, and I'll just say his last name because it's such an interesting name to me. It was Kokakis, and he was Greek, if I didn't already say that, and he was from Jersey. Really cool guy, man. He was funny and just like really chill, and like I didn't kick it with him a whole lot, but whenever I got the chance, like I would talk to him and chill with him or whatever. And he was like always telling me and my other homies in the academy that he was from Jersey and that he had left his wife and his 3 kids back there, and he was gonna move them out as soon as he could. And then like when he first mentioned this, me and one of my homies that I kicked it with a lot, I talked about him in another video. I don't remember if I said his real name or not, but he was the one that I ended up getting it into it with. We don't talk anymore, but in the academy, he was like one of my best homies, along with Q, the former police officer that I talked about. There was like a SWAT officer and everything. That's where I first met him when he was a corrections officer for a little bit before he became a cop again. But anyway, so the thing that Kokakis told us that we thought was kind of weird or kind of like just suspect was he said he had told his best friend, keep an eye on my wife and my kids for me. And you already know where this is going. So like when he said that, we all kind of looked at each other like, man, that's just one thing you don't do, man. Unfortunately, like just human nature and like I guess human feelings and attractions just take over sometimes. And so anyway, uh, he ended up telling us, well, like, well, anyways, we ended up seeing him one day, and he just looked really down, and like he looked like he'd been crying. And so a bunch of us were like asking him, like, what's going on, what's wrong? And first he, like didn't want to talk about it. He just wanted to be left alone. So we all kind of left him alone or whatever. So anyway, he ended up telling us that just like what we had thought, that his wife ended up telling him like on his last phone call, like don't bother calling, don't bother coming home because your friend, whatever his name was, he's replaced you. And we were like, what? We're like, damn, that's messed up. She told you like that? And he was like, yeah. So basically his boy did exactly what he told him to, take care of my family, literally. I mean, it's a messed up thing. I'm laughing now, but it's because the story gets like crazy, right? But anyway, so he was, understandably, he was like depressed and like, really sad about it. And they had even asked him if he wanted to like drop out of the training, and just fly back home or whatever, right? Excuse me. but he was determined to finish. Like I think we still had maybe 2 weeks of training. We had been there about 4 weeks, I think. So I guess he figured there was only 2 weeks left, so he wanted to finish the academy, right? So he he kind of like fought through it, and you know he um he was kind of up and down, his emotions and everything, but he did what he needed to do, right? And we were all very supportive of him, and like, just try to keep him positive, and obviously that's not an easy thing, man. Like you're losing your family. I mean, obviously he was going to be able to see his kids again, but I mean, basically he's going to have that horrible, awkward situation to deal with, with his best friend basically moved in and replaced his ass, right? So anyway, like we all graduated. We all got shipped out to our units. Like I've said many times, I got shipped off. Well, I didn't get shipped off to, but I got assigned to SMU1 in Florence, Arizona, right? Kokakis and two my other really good homies, Wilson, this brother named George Wilson. He was really cool. I'm gonna do a video on him too, because that's an interesting story also. Um, they all got assigned to SME too. So it was Wilson, Kokakis, and then the other homie, I would say his last name, Muniz, the one that there was like me and him were really tight, almost like brothers, and we ended up, having a big falling out and like throwing blows. But anyway, so they all got sent to SMU too. So like I was carpooling with Muniz and Wilson, so like I saw them like all the time still, right? And maybe about a couple weeks into our assignments, they started telling me that Kokakis was acting like really weird. Like he was like talking to himself and just like kind of acting kind of erratic. And like even some of the inmates were saying like, man, that fucking CO is crazier than us. Like he's fucking weird, right? So they were kind of like trying to keep an eye on him and trying to, figure out what's wrong with him. But I guess he was like starting to have a breakdown because of what happened with his wife, right? So like, I guess finally one day, or I think the sergeant had talked to him and like asked him, what was wrong and if he wanted to go home and all this stuff, like if he wanted to take a leave of absence, and he just kept saying, "No, man, I'm good, I'm good." But then I guess one day they ended up having to send him home because, and I'm not like I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick, like making fun of this dude, but just some of the shit he did was so weird, and it's funny because of what he did, right? So he came to work and he was acting really strange, and I guess the other CO ended up calling the sergeant because he was like, I've described how the unit, like SME2 was pretty similar to SME1, but their units were a little bit bigger. Like instead of 8 cells in one pod, they had 10, I think. So they had like one more cell upstairs and one more cell downstairs. But it was the same when you entered. It was a big metal door, and then you walked in, and it was shaped like a horseshoe, like a walkway, and then the control was up above, behind plexiglass and bars. So I guess he walked in and like he started skipping like a kid. He was like skipping, going around in circles in the horseshoe and like singing. I don't know what song he was singing, but he was like singing at the top of his lungs. So of course the control officer and the floor officer were like, "What the fuck?" Like what the hell's going on with this dude? So they called the sergeant, and then the sergeant came down there and was like trying to stop him, like, "Hey dude, hey man, you need to like stop. What are you doing? Like you're being totally unprofessional. Like if you're playing, you need to stop or whatever. But if there's something wrong with you, you need to go home. So I guess they finally got him to stop, and then he kind of snapped out of it, and like I guess he was saying, "I know I'm fine." They were like, the sergeant was like, "No, you've been acting very strange for about a week and a half now, almost 2 weeks." They were like, "You need to go home. You need to leave." They basically told him to take off like I don't remember if it was a day or two, but so anyways, when he came back, he was just like, he came back, his uniform looked all messed up, like all wrinkled, and like just he looked crazy, I guess, right? So he didn't look right. Obviously, you could tell he wasn't in a good state of mind. So they ended up telling him to leave, and he was refusing to leave. Like he started to argue with the sergeant and refusing to leave. So they gave him a few chances, and they told him like, man, if you don't leave, if you don't comply and leave on your own, we're gonna call Florence PD to like escort you off of the premises. So he was like, I'm not fucking leaving. Like he was refusing to leave, right? So Florence PD ended up coming, and like as soon as he saw Florence PD, he jumped in his car and he like peeled out and like took off like fast, right? So Florence PD was like, obviously they're like, that's crazy. So they started pursuing him, right? They started chasing him. So I guess he didn't pull over for a while, but I think he finally I don't know what caused him to finally pull over, but he ended up pulling over, and so they ended up taking him in. But I think he was only in jail for like maybe like a couple hours or something. Like I don't remember if they just like let him out or if somebody bailed him out or something. But they kind of like gave him a break, and just because they kind of figured out that his something was going on with his, like he was having some kind of breakdown, right? So he ended up like nobody seen him for like maybe a couple of days, and he didn't try to come back to work. But then one day he showed up. I guess there was like, because there was like these softball fields in Florence, like in one of the parks, like where like all the COs would go to hang out and stuff, and like they would have like there was like softball leagues and stuff. So he showed up there for whatever reason, and I guess he was acting like really crazy. And so I wasn't there, but there was some COs there that I knew, and they said that he got out of his car and he started running around and like jumping up and down and stuff. Like, I mean, to me, like the way I pictured it, he sounded like he was acting like a cartoon character or something. So they said he was running around, and no joke, I swear I'm not making this up. They said he was singing that Chaka Khan song. I swear they said he kept going like this, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, you can rock Chaka Khan, or whatever that song says. And he just like kept singing the song, and he was running around, jumping around and stuff, and like acting crazy. And then I don't know why he did this, but I guess he ran up behind some guy and like grabbed him and like kind of like started humping on him. I swear I'm not making this shit up. So obviously the dude got pissed, and I guess he was a pretty big dude. I guess he turned around and decked him, boom, and like so he went down, right? And then I guess he ended up getting up, and he walks to his car, or no, he gets up and runs to his car, and he takes off. He peels out. So somebody called the cops. That there was somebody like at the park acting crazy, right? So they ended up. I think they ended up chasing him again and pulling him over. And I don't remember if they arrested him again or not. But so if they did, he was in there like a day or two, and they let him out, or he got bailed out or something. But so anyway, like one of our this other CO that had gone through Coda Academy with us, he was this skinny white dude named Dunlop. That was his last name. And he was like a really tall, skinny, like really goofy kid. Well, I say kid, but he was like in his early 20s. And I guess him and Kokakis had gotten they were renting a house together in town in Florence. And so he had been like telling us a lot of stuff about Kokakis. Like he was like, before all this happened, he was like telling us like he's been acting weird at home, and and all this stuff, and just like being totally strange, right? So one day during shift, Dunlap approaches me, and he's like, "Hey Diaz," he's like, "Man," he's like, "I need you to do me a really big favor." And I was like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, "Well, Kokakis is acting really strange, man. Like, he's like, I'm kind of afraid of him." And I was like, "What, really?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I want to move my stuff out, But he's like, well, actually, I just want to grab like the stuff that I really need, and then I'm just gonna go stay with. He was gonna go stay with somebody else, right? So he's like, I wanted to know if you and like maybe he goes, you can bring another person with you if you want, so in case you guys need to like tackle him or something, you know. Um, so like I ended up like telling him, yeah, man, I'll help you, of course, right? So the CO I was working with that night, which is another CO that I'm gonna do a video about, because man, you guys probably think like, where do I come up with this shit? But I don't know, man. I've worked with and grew up with like some interesting people, man. Like this dude that he actually volunteered to go with me because he was right there listening, and he just wanted to see what was up for himself, right? His name was Nunez. That was his last name. And this dude he was fucking nuts, man. Like I didn't find out how crazy this dude was till like kind of afterwards, but he was from Tucson, and I didn't find out until a while later that this dude was transporting drugs for one of the cartels. Yeah, no shit. Um, but anyway, so Nunez is like, hey, Diaz is like, I'll fucking come with you, man. I was like, all right, cool, So after shift that day, we followed Dunlop to their house, that they were renting in town, and so we walk in, and like no joke, well, even before we walked in, we could hear music, like, I mean, fucking loud. Like Kokakis had this badass stereo system, like that he must have spent like a couple thousand on. It was a badass stereo, went super loud too, and so he was blasting like some kind of like rock ballad. I don't remember if it was like might have been like Journey or Air Supply or something, but he had it like almost full blast. I mean, it was like shaking the walls and the windows, right? So when we walk in, he's like fucking doing air guitar, like no joke. He's doing air guitar, and he's like jumping up, and like he was jumping high too, like, and kind of like doing the splits kind of, and like, like the real rock stars do, like when they're doing a concert, like, like what do you call it, performing for the audience and shit, right? So we're just looking at him like, holy shit. And then he sees us, and then he sees me, and he's like, Diaz! And he runs up to me and like goes boom, and like hugs me like super hard, right? I mean, if I would have been ready for him, he might have knocked me down. That's how hard he hugged me, like almost like he was trying to tackle me, right? So I hugged him, and I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I'm happy to see you too, bro. I'm like, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I'm so fucking happy to see you, bro. He's like, man, he's like, I love you, and this and that, like, you're so fucking cool, and this and that, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm happy to see you too, man. I was like, can you turn it down a little bit, please, bro? I can't even hear you, right? So he's like, yeah. So he so he like lets go of me, and then he's kind of like looking at Nunez, and then he walks slowly to the stereo, and he's looking at Nunez, and he turns it down, right? And then he looks back at me and he goes, I'm really happy to see you. And then he looks at Nunez, but he goes, but not you. He's like, I don't fucking like you. And then Nunez is like, oh, fuck, like that. And he had never met Nunez, right? He was just tripping on him for whatever reason. So I was like, hey, Kokakis, be cool, man. I said, he's with me, man. He's cool, man. And he's like, oh, all right. He's like, well, I'll keep it cool then because he's with you, because you said he's with you. I'm like, all right, cool, bro. I appreciate it, right? So he walks to his room, and Dunlop's like looking at us like, see what I mean? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, dude, grab your stuff, And he's like, all right. So Dunlop walks off to his room to go grab his shit, right? So Kokakis had went into his bedroom, and about 30 to 45 seconds later, he comes walking out with a pair of fucking nunchucks. And I was like, oh shit. And he starts doing them, and he was pretty good. He was doing them fast. And Nunez is just looking at him like his fucking eyes were like he was like, oh fuck. He's like, this dude's gonna fuck me up, So he's like, twirling them and doing all kinds of shit, and the whole time he's staring at Nunez like he wants to get him, And I'm like, hey, Kokakis. I'm like, man, that's badass, bro. I'm like, I didn't know you were so good with those like that, you know. And then he's just like stops and he's like looks at me. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm really good with these. He's like, I could fuck some shit up. And I'm like, yeah, I bet, bro. I said, Kokakis. I said, can I see him, bro? And he's like, he kind of thinks about it and looks at Nunez and he's like, all right. So he handed them to me, you know, and I'm like, I told him, is it cool if I hang on to these for a little bit, bro? And he's like, yeah, all right. And then he started like doing, like moving, like he still had the nunchucks, but I had them, right? But I don't know if he thought he still had them or if he was just, I don't know why he started doing it, but he starts doing all the movements again, like, you know, and like, you know, going like this, like he still has them and shit, you know? And then we're just looking at him like, oh fuck, man, homeboy's fucking tripping, man. So Dunlop comes out and he's like, okay, I'm ready, you know. So we're like, all right, cool, man. I said, hey, Kokakis, man. I said, it was good to see you, man. You know, take care of yourself, bro. And then so he runs towards me, gives me another hug, and he's like, Diaz, he's like, I missed you, man. He's like, please come back and see me, you know. I'm like, all right, I will, I promise, you know. So you know, I think I left the nunchucks like stuffed like under the cushion or something like that. And so we got out of there, right? We took off, right? So I think the next thing that happened with him was he ended up doing some more crazy shit in town. I'm trying to remember what he did. But I think he ended up I hate to say this, but like I think he ended up like roping some female, like some random female. He just like went up to her and like started grabbing her and stuff, right? So they ended up arresting his ass again. And so this time like he ended up so he was in the Florence jail, or he might have been in the county jail or something, but so the officer Q that I had talked about before, the one that ended up becoming a Phoenix cop, so he was still a CO in Florence during this time, and he was on a transport or something, right? And the jail that he ended up at to pick up an inmate, he saw Kokakis in the jail, and he said when he seen him, he said he was like started yelling, like he was like, Carino! He started yelling his last name. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say his own name, but fuck it, too late now. So anyways, he's like trying to get his attention. He's like, Carino! He's like, you gotta get me out of here, bro. He's like, please get me out of here, you know. And Carino said he was just looking at him like, oh man, like what the fuck are you doing in here, dude? And he's like, please help me. He's like, get me out of here, man. He's like, they're fucking being mean to me. He's like, I can't stay here, you know. And so like the jailers were like saying, man, you know this guy? And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, we went to Code Academy together. And they were like, what? He's a CO? And he was like, well, yeah, he was, but you know, he lost his job because he's been having some kind of breakdown and just doing all kinds of weird, crazy shit, you know. So yeah. Anyway, so you know, I guess Carino went over there and talked to him, like, you know, real quick, and just was like, man, like, you need to, you know, just try to get some help, man, and you know, just try to be cool, man, and you know, I don't know, I guess, you know, get some help, and then just, you know, try to get out of here, and hopefully, you know, you can get your life back on track, you know, but yeah, so that was like pretty much the last that we ever heard about Kokakis. You know, I hope he ended up getting some help, and I hope he ended up like, you know, getting back to his kids, you know, and seeing his kids again at least. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy thing that happened to him. Like I've never literally like seen a person go from normal to basically like crazy like that, like what happened to him. So it was kind of interesting, but you know, obviously like really sad. But anyway, I hope you guys liked that story. You know, that's another one for now. Don't forget to hit like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. For now, your homie Big Cisco. Peace.